Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Chatting with the Rev. I'm glad that you're here with us this afternoon, and I'm glad to have with me a very fine friend, a good friend of mine, Karen Barrison. She is here with us today to talk about a few things that I believe you would be interested in and you would be edified by. Hello, Karen.
Hi.
How you doing?
Fine.
Say hello to our Facebook Live audience.
Hi, Facebook Live.
We're glad to have you here with us, Karen. Karen and I have been knowing each other now nearly 10 years.
Yeah, a
I,
little bit over.
yeah, a little bit over 10. That's right, it has been. A little over 10 years now. In fact, it was quite a bit over, yeah, about a little over 10 years. And we met each other at Hope Church School. I was the teacher of her daughter, Whitney. And she was a fine student. She's doing fine in her life. She's been in the military. Her daughter's been in the military. She's traveled far and wide, really. And truly, we have been blessed by knowing Karen all these many years. Even after Whitney had finished school, after she left school, our friendship continued because we have so much in common. First of all, we have a physical disability, both of us. We both have cerebral palsy. I was diagnosed at 14 months old. When were you diagnosed?
No, at birth.
At birth.
Um, how that came about was my mother, who is also disabled. She had a car accident when she was 25. This was 2 years before I was born, and 6 months after she got married to my father. Um, the, she was on her way to school, and she crashed the car and threw her out the car, and it broke her back.
My.
So so at that point she was she's a paraplegic, and so she at that point told my father, well, so this way you can divorce me, and I know you want so, but then he wouldn't hear of it. So they lasted up until 1986. They, got, they were separated. But out of that union came five kids. I'm the oldest. And there's two girls and three boys out of that union. And I'm the only one that has cerebral palsy. They cut the cord too soon. The doctor just did not see me breathing. So they just cut the cord too soon. So I'm brain damaged on my left side.
Okay, okay. And I'm the same way. What happened with me was, well, actually, it's a mystery how it happened. Because my mother had so much problems. In fact, let me say this before I conclude. She and I now share another item. We're both the oldest children, and the only one with cerebral palsy. I have one brother and two sisters that are younger than I am. So I'm the oldest of the four, and I'm the only one who has cerebral palsy of all of them. All of them were born able-bodied. I was the only one that was born with a physical disability. Mine was diagnosed when I was 14 months old, largely because my grandfather noticed that as I began to walk, I drugged my right foot and I held my right hand in a ball. And I would never really, even now, you can say I have swung that fingers. Uh, and so he said, there's something wrong. He's not developing the way he should. So my mother and my father, they took me to a doctor, and the doctor diagnosed me with cerebral palsy at 14 months old. I'm 65 now, so it's been virtually all my life. I've had cerebral palsy. I also had a speech impediment. Every once in a while, hear it
Yes,
in my speech.
same here.
Yes. As I began to preach and speech therapy and everything, and you can see it has improved greatly. But when I was young, it really was bad. It really was an awful kind of thing, in the sense that I had a bad stammering, stuttering problem throughout my life, throughout my early life anyhow. But Karen, you are really an inspiration to so many people. And I don't like to use the word inspiration because I believe inspiration is a condescending term, meaning that we are exceptions to the rule. But I believe this: people with disabilities have gifts and talent. That's why I call my group "Taking the Dis" out of disability. We were so much on to the dis part of disability, we never see the abilities. And this young lady has a lot of abilities. I've known her for over 10 years, and I've seen the abilities. I've seen her commitment to the disabled advocacy groups. I mean, she is on fire with making sure that the rights of disabled people are protected. I think more so than ever before, we're going to need you, Karen. We're going to need you and others like you. With the Trump administration coming into play, we know how even during his campaign he mocked a couple of people who had disabilities and made fun of them. So we know it's going to be a hard time. We've heard the difficulties that people are fearful who are of different races. The minority groups are fearful. The people that are homosexual are fearful of what's going to happen during these 4 years, at least 4 years of the Trump term. But I think of every group that has the most to be leery of this new administration. The group that is going to be the most impacted by it in a negative way are people with disabilities. They're already talking about cutting Medicare, Medicaid. They're talking about Social Security, doing things that impact us on a daily basis. And so it's really going to be, hello, Brother John Clark, Pastor John Clark, with us earlier on my wife's program. It was good to see him. He's also a longtime friend. We met back in 1999, so it was good to have you with us today. But we're going to, last Monday actually, this past Monday, we were talking about sex, relationships, and the disabled. And Karen was not able to be here. She had another obligation, and she could not be here to be a part of that conversation. But she did text me and said that before we get into what we want to talk about with her, she wanted to at least address this issue and how it has impacted her life. So, Karen, why don't you just talk a little bit about that?
Okay. Like I said, I have CP. I wouldn't. Most people are. I wouldn't use. I mean, people use the term ignorant, but if they are, it's not their fault of being not knowing how a disabled person would have sex or would want to have sex.
Or even a relationship.
Right, because me and my husband got married in 1992. I had my daughter Whitney, my firstborn, on July 1st, 1992. So it was like, well, how you get pregnant? The same way anybody else does.
At least my cousin.
And just because you're physically disabled, that does not mean you can't have sex or you don't have those feelings and everything. And because when I went, because a couple of months earlier, before I had got to my doctor and was going for birth control. But then I met my husband, and well, at that point we weren't married yet. And then I got pregnant that October, and she was saying, well, you just came in here a couple of months earlier because you want to birth control, and now you're pregnant. I'm like, that's none of her business. Number two, I mean, you're supposed to be professional and not judge. So I was kind of offended. So I changed it. I was going to Presbyterian. So I felt some kind of way. So I changed hospitals because this she's supposed to be a professional doctor and not judge people on how they live on what their life is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, I went over with the hub, hospital university in South across the way. So um, but the fact of the matter is, any female can can disabled can and should be able if to have sex the way they want, or have a relationship with anybody that they want to have, either able-bodied or disabled. So and
But Karen, I want to ask you this. Just interject because you're moving a little ahead
okay.
of ourselves in the sense that before you met your husband, how was your growing up? We talked about last week about my own personal life.
Right.
Growing up, I mean, I was teased. Girls didn't look at me like even a relationship person, let alone sexual. They didn't even look at me as even a potential boyfriend. I mean, boyfriend, you? I mean, that kind of approach. So eventually, I'm like you. Eventually, I found someone who would accept me. Of course, that person was disabled themselves, but that was eventually. There was a long road between my teenage and my preteens, my teens, and early 20s before I finally found someone that would accept me the way I was. But there was a lot of rejection before that. There was a lot of almost like we can be friends, but nothing more. We can be pals. I like you, but I don't like you like that kind of approach to me. Now, how was it with you growing up? Because you've had CP all your life. It wasn't just 1992.
Well,
all of a sudden you got your CP. You said you were born with it. So way back before you met your husband, before you knew who your husband was, you had cerebral palsy.
Right.
So what was it like in elementary school, in middle school, in high school? What was it like during those periods of your time?
I went to regular, or what people would call regular
Public school.
Public school.
Mm-hmm.
And I just happened to have a special education class inside the school because
Right, Teresa.
when I wasn't when I was born, the doctor told my mom or told my parents, she said, "Girl, she is not gonna last 6 months. She will be dead in 6 months." Guys, I'm 50 years old now. I'm still here. Thank God.
Amen.
I am here.
Amen.
So that myth is broken, or that myth never happened. So I grew up. I also have a learning disability. So it's hard for me to be able to kind of comprehend my schoolwork. I mean, once somebody was telling me what to do or whatever, I would try to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but school was hard. I mean,
was math your hardest subject?
Yes.
Mine too.
I, to this day,
Me too.
cannot stand math.
Yeah, I'm not good at it.
I mean, it was like a phobia.
But I learned just very recently, Karen, that people with CP, cerebral palsy, have cognitive problems, and math requires cognitive skills. I always wondered why I could never. I was good at history. I liked a lot of things.
Right.
I liked reading and other things, but math was just something I could not grasp. And the harder the math was, the more frustrating it became. 1 and 1 and 2 is one thing, but when I got to algebra and trigonometry and geometry and all that, I mean, it became like another language for me. And I think it was a problem for me.
I mean, I can deal with adding, subtracting.
Yeah, those simple things.
And some multiplications, but I still needed the trick.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I did with what I with concerning that. I did with what I like when it comes to money I never kept my money, whatever.
Yeah.
And I still have a hard time making change of stuff like that. But I mean, I you just do what you have to do to deal with that. So, but basically with boys and stuff, it was back then. I was born in '66. I got my shirt on. This is my birthday shirt.
Mm-hmm.
My birthday tie. So I was basically sheltered because I my basically I didn't go nowhere like without my parents or whatever. Wherever wherever they had to take me, they took me.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, wherever I had to go, they had to take me. They take me. I couldn't get nowhere else. At that time we lived in Washington D.C. and Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so they had the car. So I mean, I couldn't really go anywhere unless they physically took me to those places. So I never had a boyfriend until I was 15 years old.
Okay.
Because I went to a disabled school in New Jersey.
Okay.
And me and him happened to be the same age, born the same year, a month apart. So
Was he disabled?
yes, he was. And I forget what kind of disability he had, but we were both 15. I noticed him first.
Mm-hmm.
He was cute and all that. So we when we got together, we lasted about 2 years, or up until I left the school.
Mm-hmm.
And so, well, me and him were like the hit of the school. It was like just go pick a Martha Karen, you know. So we were but when it came time for me, because I had moved back home to Philly at the age of 18.
Okay.
So I mean, and then I mean, I've had like guy friends and stuff. I mean, my personality came more over that showed up for the disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, but because when I was growing up, my cousin, who was 3 years younger than I am, they used to babysit me.
Okay.
But so then when people used to push me, I was a manual chair. They used to push me around.
Mm-hmm.
So when people stared at me, she would get upset. Don't stare at her. It should get, I mean, highly upset and mad. Don't stare at her. You don't stare at her. If you want to ask a question, and we would tell you or anything you want to know.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like,
you don't want them staring at you.
She was very protective of me. But now, and like last time I saw Dee was when my sister, my bigger sister graduated from Howard University in D.C. About 2 years later, she passed away.
Oh my!
Yeah, because she had brain and breast cancer.
My goodness.
So I went to her funeral, but I saw her. She didn't look sick at all. But so over the years, I mean, I never had your typical boyfriend. I've had like boys who were friends and stuff.
Right.
And like one particular boy that I've known since, cause when our family went to school here, and I went to Widener Memorial. It's like all if you're physically disabled and here in Philly, that's the school you go to. It's Widener.
Yeah, we had a niece that went to that school.
So I mean, if you're blind, you go to the blind school.
Right.
Somewhere here. I forget. Or but
if you're deaf, there's another school for the deaf, and then
so,
of course there's Widener for the physically challenged.
Right. And so it's like and they never even heard of me before. I moved to school in Jersey from the time my family moved here, which was 1980 up until 86. That's where I came home.
Right.
So, but then Philadelphia school system hadn't heard of me, and so I started there at 19, and you graduated. You graduated at age of 21.
Okay.
So I met this particular gentleman. He was also he's a year younger than I am. So he was like what we would call the class clown of the
school.
Right, yeah. Because he was also blind.
Oh.
So, but Maurice was like he breaks the ice and everything. You know, he's a very
lighthearted person, kind of a
very likable.
Yeah.
So I mean, and he was like the Casanova of school, because he the playboy, like get along with all the girls and stuff. So, but I've always thought of myself as the ugly duck. Sometimes, I still do. I don't know why that is. It's just,
Well, that's not surprising, Karen, because I know when I was growing up, I always could relate to Quasimodo, the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I would always think of myself like that. But I think it's a self-esteem situation. When people make you feel ugly by them treating you ugly, you know, you then begin to think you are. Right. And whether you are or not, they begin to think you are. And I think
I never had
a boyfriend in a romantic sense. In a romantic sense, yeah.
I was still a virgin when I got married.
Okay.
So
soon before you met the man, yeah.
So my friend from school turned out he always had a crush on me.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know it then.
Mm-hmm.
But because he got married to another student that went to Widener.
Mm-hmm.
They had 2 kids together.
Okay.
And divorced in 2002, I think, or not. I forget what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was
anyway.
It was early in the 2000s. But so then now me and my husband are separated. So we got kind of back together over Facebook and Yahoo.
No.
We were like, cause another film thought that he could have kind of walked me through it since he's been through it. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm separated now.
Okay.
So no, I'm still not legally divorced, but she could help me through it. So that's how we got together. And then he finally told me. He emailed me, said, "Well, yeah, I have a real bad crush on you since high school," and he told me he felt that he was romantically wanting us to get together.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I always loved him anyway as a friend. So it didn't take that long of a jump.
Yeah, from that to romantic
Right, yeah.
interest. Yeah.
And unfortunately, he lived in Georgia.
Oh my.
So he was trying to sell his house
And move up here.
come back. I mean, we had a plan.
Okay.
Sell his house and come back up here and move in with me. And so hopefully we get my divorce.
And then you all would eventually
Get
marry.
married on my birthday. But unfortunately, very unfortunately, this past New Year's Eve, he passed away. So,
Oh my.
so it's like everything was, well, these past couple of years
Have been hard.
for me have been very, very hard. And Gerald, you know this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've talked.
Because I had a double tragedy, and the 14, my grandmother and my mom passed away within 2 months.
Yes.
Same day, so I was going kind of crazy, and I like texting you, or everybody, like whoever I knew, telling like I was kind of going kind of crazy. So, but yeah.
But one thing I'll say about Karen,
I'm getting
off track.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one thing I say about Karen is that what I've known of her, and I've known her for a while now, like we've already indicated, that she is a very courageous person. And she does not, she got depressed, certainly. I would too. My mother and my grandmother, the man who I thought I was going to build a life with, so many other challenges that she's had to face. She's a mother. She even has now still an underage daughter that she raises, that she makes sure she goes to school. I mean, so many issues that even if she wasn't physically challenged, there would be a test to her spirit. You know, just anybody, it would be a test to their spirit. But I believe because of the struggles she's had in her life, it's built her up to the point that when tragedy and struggles and problems do come in her life, she's able to overcome them. Oh, for a moment, yes, she's depressed. For a moment, she's sad, like we all would be. And someone would say, well, your mother and your grandmother are both passed within a year of each other the exact same day. If someone would say that the woman that I love died when I was anticipating us getting romantically involved, they moved up to live with me, us becoming husband and wife, now they're gone, that would be overwhelming for anybody. The children, some of them have been in trouble. And she's had to be there for them and encourage them. It's, we have lives like everybody else has lives. We have lives like everybody else. Everybody thinks all we are is our disability. But we have lives. We have tragedies. We have heartache. Lisa said true. Lisa talked about a moment ago how math has been a problem in her life. We all have struggles. She has a physical disability. My cousin Lisa Pritchard. My wife has a physical disability. But people think that all we are our disabilities, and that's the only thing that we have to worry with. It's not. And in fact, I'm going to tell you the truth. Because of our physical challenges, the other obstacles are even multiplied and even more significant because of that. Because we not only have those problems, we also have the physical challenges in our body that we got to overcome. Karen came today. She talked about, her wheelchair isn't acting right. This is not acting. This is just, people just don't even think about stuff like that. When you want to get somewhere, you get on your feet and you walk there. You go there without worrying about whether a machine is going to work or a machine is able to take you from this point to that point. She's worried whether she'll get back home okay because the chair does not keep a charge. This kind of worries, as well as worrying about the things of life, are real and they're sure. And I tell you the truth, I admire Karen a whole lot. Over the years, I've admired her. I admired her when she used to come up with her daughter Whitney, and that's when we first met, and how she was there at every parent-teacher conference. She was right there. When there was a play going on where Whitney was involved in, she was right there. Graduation, she was right there. anything that was going on with that young lady, she was right there front and center. She's doing the same thing with her daughter now, her youngest child. She's doing the same thing, going to pick her up, going to her concerts, taking her here, taking her there. And she's in a wheelchair, keep in mind. She could easily say, well, you know, I can't get there because I don't feel up to it, or I can't get there because my wheelchair is this, and I can't get there because she has CP. And if anyone knows anything about cerebral palsy, you have a muscle situation that sometimes does not allow you. We can't work in regular chairs,
Right.
because we can't use our hands to do like a manual chair. You have to wheel that thing. We can't do that. So we need the power chair. Power chairs go wrong, you know, we're in trouble. If we have to rely on a manual chair, now we got to get somebody to push the manual chair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so people they're not at our beck and call. They're not at our beck and call. I need you. I can't help you. You know, they're not at our beck and call. So we have to accommodate. We have to adapt, and that's just the way it is. I know the definition of cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is a condition that impacts the brain. And this is how it works. And really, Karen was saying it. If your right side, my right side is affected by cerebral palsy. My right side, which means the left side of my brain has been damaged. It's always the opposite.
Right.
So if your left side of the brain has been damaged, the right side will be affected. She said her left side of the brain was affected. That means most of the disability is on the right side. She has a little weakness in the left side, but the majority of the problem lies on her right side, because that's how it works with cerebral palsy. You know, cerebral palsy mainly happens from birth to about 3 years old. That's when most cases happen. 2 ways: a lack of oxygen to the brain. That was her. Mine was either that or a traumatic experience. I fell out of I was reaching for my father, and I fell out the crib and I hit my head. That can cause cerebral palsy, because it all matter how hard the fall was and how significant it impacted the brain. I had a lot of things. My mother had a blood transfusion issue. She fell over our pet dog before I was born, and they had to rush to the hospital. She was in the hospital for 3 weeks. All of that could have affected it. You know, there was a problem when I was being born. That could have have affected me somehow or another. And then this fall that happened when I was 6 months old. Any one of those things, they could not pin it down, because by the time they diagnosed it, I was already 14 months old. So it was hard to determine which one of the 3, maybe all 3, had a part in this thing with me. But I've had it for a long time. So, you know, we have to understand that cerebral palsy is something that it can happen at birth. It can happen somewhere along during the time you're a baby or a toddler. It can happen through your having the lack of oxygen to the brain. It can happen because of a traumatic fall, something that really impacts the brain. There's brain damage. It's incurable. There's no cure for cerebral palsy, but it's not inherited either. Right. It's not a genetic disease. We both have children. My child don't have cerebral palsy. My grandchildren don't have cerebral palsy. And her children, none of her children have cerebral palsy.
People often think just because you're disabled, you have disabled kids.
That's right.
Not true.
That's not true.
All my kids are able-bodied.
That's right. And she's the oldest of her siblings. And she said she's the only of the siblings. She's the only one. I have siblings that are younger than me. None of them has cerebral palsy. Not one. Not my mother. Not my father. Not my grandparents. No one in my family has had cerebral palsy but me. Now, I don't know if anybody in my family, talking about the whole scope of family, I don't know. But I'm talking my direct line. Parents, grandparents, my children, and me. I'm the only one that has cerebral palsy. So you know, this is something that we have to dispel. We have to understand that there are some conditions. Yes, it's hereditary, but cerebral palsy is not one of them. Another thing about cerebral palsy is that it never gets worse. Now, what does get worse is your condition, meaning this: because I limped so long, my left hip went bad. Because I sit a certain way, my back is now degenerating. So cerebral palsy is not getting any worse, But because of the cerebral palsy, other parts of my body have been impacted by it. It's been impacted by it. Now I'm in a wheelchair. I used to be able to walk. At one point, I walked with braces. I graduated from that. Then I had to start walking with a cane. Then I had to start walking with crutches. I walked with walkers. I walked with it all. Now, because of weakening conditions, worsening conditions, I'm in a wheelchair. So, no, the cerebral palsy has gotten no worse. But its impact on my body, the way I walk, the gait I had, the way I move, even with my hand, I had arthritis all in this hand now. It was because I held it like this, or I held it with this, like with the swollen neck, that little crease and all that. So that's what got worse, because now I got arthritis everywhere in my body. It's not cerebral palsy, but it's a result of cerebral palsy. Go on, Karen.
When I was 12 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I used to, like I said, if you don't use it, you lose it. Me, I walked on braces and crutches.
Mm-hmm.
Then I graduated down to just the crutches out of braces. But I would have they call them parallel bars. And
Mm-hmm.
walk back
Up
and
and down.
forth.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed I had been having a pain in my hip, on my right side, in my hip. So the doctor, they couldn't figure it out. But after a while, X-ray showed that the ball in my hip,
Yeah, ball and socket.
the ball socket in my right hip was not. It wasn't a ball. It was.
You slipped out of place.
It was square.
Okay.
So every time it would hit the socket or whatever, I would be in pure.
Excruciating pain.
It was like taking it from 12 years old up until now. But the thing is, I've been to like all the doctors and stuff, and then I would take out every legal medicine known to man. Nothing worked. Except for maybe Tylenol or codeine or Percocet.
I damn.
But they consider that as addictive drugs.
Yeah.
But even though you were taking them like when you're supposed to or whatever, but they don't normally. But that was the only ones that'll
Relieve the pain.
Well, yeah, but so I would joke around and say, well, maybe I'm taking all of the legal stuff, maybe I'm just taking some of the illegal stuff. Maybe some of that work. But but as of I forget the year, but it was when President Bush II, his son, was president the second time around.
Okay, 2008.
Yeah, I was like,
2004. 2004.
I was like 37, 38. They finally, my ortho doctor said, well, he's going to send me to an ortho surgeon. So he said, I could do two things for you. I can either it's called resection. Sorry, guys. It's called resection, or give you an artificial hip. I said, thank God. I'm like, this is what I've been telling the doctors all along since I was 12. Get rid of my hip and just give me an artificial one, because.
Just you have now on the right side?
Oh, yeah. Because, that's another thing. The medical doctors sometimes don't listen to you. You know your own body. If you tell them to do something, most of the time, and then they don't listen to you. See, I go to the doctor mostly on my own, so they have to. Because if you go with somebody, especially somebody able-bodied, they'll talk to the able-bodied person, and they just totally ignore you.
I want to talk about that. Hold that thought. But I want to ask you a few questions now that we got through that.
Okay.
Yeah, because we want to move on because we're almost time.
Okay.
Because they'll be over. But let me ask you this. When you went to public school, how did your when you went to the public school now, the regular able-bodied school, how did the people that were able-bodied treat you?
Fine. I got along with them perfectly.
That's good. Have you ever been teased or anything? Anybody ever was mean to you?
I mean, I had a couple of kids call me retarded because I had a hard time
Speaking.
hard time speaking and a hard time reading because I know that with the doctor, the doctor got me like 4 lines and I was trouble reading it. And just because of it, just was you'll be retarded.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not retarded.
You're not retarded. And that's another thing people do too. They think that just because you have cerebral palsy, that you are mentally, developmentally challenged. That's the term I like using. I don't like that retarded. Right. Anyway, I don't like the phrase retarded. Developmentally challenged. Because when I was in high school, I went to my doctor and he wrote down on this chart after evaluating me and all that, he wrote down mentally retarded. And my mother, who was there with me, she happened to see it. And she said, there's nothing mentally retarded about him. He's a preacher. At that time, I was preaching. I was preaching since I was 12. He was a preacher. He does well in school. He has no problem with math. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing retarded about him. He said, well, he has cerebral palsy, and he does not test high on the IQ, which much of the, keep in mind, much of the high school IQ testing, rather, is cognitive skills. And as I told you before, with cerebral palsy, there are issues with cognitive skills. I have a student that's right here with me now that I taught history. Did I have any problem with his historical skills, Terrence? And I would venture to say, he would say, no, Rev, you didn't. I was able to teach the class. I've pastored, I've preached, I've written sermons and all the rest of that. I've written a book. Those aren't my problems. My cognitive skills are dealing with math, measuring, adding, and certainly word problems have always been a problem for me. They're not called word problems for nothing. They've always been a problem for me. I've really always had a problem with word problems. How you don't call us? My son-in-law. Word problems have always been an issue with me. Because of the cerebral palsy, it deals with cognitive skill deficiencies. But does that mean I'm mentally retarded? Of course. My mother was so upset, she said, I'm not leaving this place. And he said, I'll change it. I'll let you know when I change. You know, I'm not leaving this place. I know how you are. You'll leave that in his record. It'll follow him the rest of his life. No matter whether he tries to get a job, whether he wants to go to school, whether he wants to go to college, that indication that you've made about him being mentally retarded, and that's what they said then. They didn't use the term developmentally challenged at that point. They used the term mentally retarded. When you put that down there, that will be a stigma on him for the rest of his life, and it's not true. And I'm going to wait here till I see you corrected, and then I want you to give me the paper that says the term mentally retarded. He fidgeted around. My mother waited the whole time. She waited about an hour. He finally signed off on the thing, gave her the original paper that said mentally retarded, then we left and went on home. My mother said that will never happen, not with you. So people don't understand disabilities. They don't want to understand us. Ignorance is sometimes bliss, in the sense that if I don't understand, that means that's why I act this way. No, it's no excuse. In this modern age, in this technological age, where even babies know how to use computers, there's no reason why people can't learn about other people. Some people aren't homosexual, but I know we find out what all that lifestyle is all about. It's easy to find out what it's about. You may not be black, but I know you can look into the internet and find out the history of black people from Africa all the way to slavery and even the civil rights movement, and even today. There's a way to find out now. You don't want to find out because you don't care. There are 60 million people in this country that have physical, developmental, or mental challenges. 60 million. We're the largest minority in any group in this country. And there's 1 billion people with disabilities around the world. There's only 7 billion people. 1 billion of them have disabilities. So we're not a minority. Only thing I would say about us is we're a solid majority. We have no power, no political power. Nobody listens to us. I was looking at a thing just today, a post, and they were talking about how it's going to be for everybody, and they named everybody Native American, African American, LBDG, and all the rest of these people. They named everybody, every group but ours. And like I said before at the beginning of this program, the one group that's going to be impacted by this Trump era will be us. We are the poorest of the poor already. We are the least educated already. We are the most violently abused already. 1 out of 3 people with disabilities will have some kind of domestic or physical abuse perpetrated against them. My goodness, 1 out of 3. People with disabilities will have been abused, slapped, beaten, killed, maimed, lame, whatever. I was looking at something just before I came on the air, and there was this man, 91 years old, who had Alzheimer's. If you go on my page, you'll read about it. Gerald Yeshua Cares Scott. Go on that page, you'll see it. It's posted. 91 years old. He has Alzheimer's. And he didn't want to go to the doctors. The people there in the hospital, the nursing home, called the police. The police tased him. He fell on the ground from the tasing. 91 years old. They handcuffed him, and as they handcuffed him, they broke his wrist. And after they broke his wrist, they threw him in a jail, and 9 days later he died. 91 with Alzheimer's. And you're right in a nursing home. You mean they don't have any professionals there that could have calmed him down, given him some kind of tranquilizer? You call them the police? And they don't know anything about how to deal with people with physical disabilities. I can give you over and over again cases. How about Eric Gardner? We always talk about his race, his being a black man, but he was also a man who was obese. He was also a man with asthma, and he was also a man who had a serious heart disease. You talk about Sharon Blatton from Texas, who was killed because she refused to put out a cigarette after a simple traffic violation. And they put her in jail. They found her hung. They ruled it a suicide. But later on, the doctors say, but she also suffered with depression and epilepsy. Over and over again, there's instances like that. I know of a young white boy, 26 years old. His name was Ethan Saylor. He went to the movies. He paid $12 to see the movie. He was so impressed by the movie, he wanted to see it again. But he didn't have an extra $12, old Jeffrey. He didn't have an extra $12. So when they told him to get up and get out, he didn't want to do it. She called the police. Well, she called the security guards who happened to be moonlighting police officers. Actually, they were police officers who moonlighted as security guards. And they threw him to the ground, sat on his head. And he died of asphyxiation. He had he had Down syndrome. You mean you can't deal with people like this? There was a woman that was a man that went into the police station, and he was in a wheelchair. They didn't believe that he really was physically challenged. So what they did was they tipped the wheelchair over to see whether he would walk after they tipped it over. He was paralyzed. He was a paraplegic. But they didn't believe he was, so they tipped the wheelchair over. Karen, how do people deal with you that are in customer services? When you go into a restaurant, you ever had waiters talk to everybody but you about what you want?
Nah, I'm basically I'm by myself or with my kids, or so. I mean, one good example. Right now, my son is incarcerated over at CFCF. For this time, he's in there for 2 years. But but he was also incarcerated back in 2013. The lawyer that got him really didn't want to deal with me because of my impediment, but he had to. Because basically, I'm the only one that came to court. I'm the only one that showed up every time they had a court case. I showed up.
Right.
I have showed up to all his court cases, even when they had to change it. So, but whenever I would talk to him on the phone, he would say, well, get your husband call me.
Yeah.
I'm like, that turned me off real bad, because I'm not saying nothing against my husband, but the thing is, since I'm the only one that was, he had talked to me, or like, because he asked, I had questions, because I was trying to see, well, like, why is this happening? Why is this taking so long? When is he going to get out? If he's going to get out, what was happening next?
Yeah, you were questioning it.
Right.
You were questioning something.
So at that point, because he was there from Christmas Eve of 2013 up until June 2nd of 2014. That's the day he got out. So but whenever because whenever I would talk to him on the phone, he just like, bypass. I'm like, no.
That's right. You demand.
I really, I knew I should have said something to him right there, but it was something, and we didn't do it because one would have really cussed him out. Because I do have a bit of a problem. But I know when to use it and where to use it and when not to use it.
Yeah.
So
and you didn't want to make anything any worse for him by you acting up. That would impact on him. You know, his mother coming here and she acting like this. Well, we want to take it out on you, but you ain't here.
My son did get out on June 2nd of 2014, but he just took a plea deal.
Okay.
Because even though he was at the wrong place, with the wrong people, wrong time.
Right.
That was the only fault that he made. But what he was accused of, he didn't do. Even this time around, wrong place, wrong time.
And it goes to show you have to be careful who you associate with. Exactly. So, you're part of the group. So we want to thank you, Karen.
Right.
You want to final thought? Give me final thought, Karen.
I'm hoping this is the last time that you would invite me on your show, because we do have a lot to talk about. Several other different.
Exactly. That's what I want to. Right.
So I'm hoping this is the last.
It's not going to be the last time. It's not going to be the last time. No, there's a lot of things that we want to deal with. We want to deal with.
I've enjoyed myself and everything. And
thank you, Karen.
And I do kind of ramble on, and I do, and also I'm just part of disability or not, or I just kind of get off.
No, that's part of. I can do that. I can do that as well.
I try to focus
on what we're talking about.
Right.
But there are many issues.
And this Trump thing, the night that the whole to me was fixed, because there's one woman, I'm changing this channel for something else. I come back, then they announced Trump is unelected. I said, oh my God. So as soon as that happened, I went on my Facebook page and I said, I can find it now. Well, something to the point. Well, in the next 4 to 8 years, we're going to have a pharaoh.
But let me end it with this, Karen. I want to say this. I think we need to come together and we'll talk about this at a different time. We almost finished this.
Okay.
But let me no problem at all. But I know time is always of essence. But we thank you for coming. But let me say this about that. So that's why we with disabilities, those who are racially concerned, those minority groups, everyone who has a concern really need to now. It's maybe a good thing because we can finally come together as a people and start doing something. One thing, like I said before, and we've talked about this in our lesson before. One thing I said is the first thing we have to do is we have to look at this electoral college procedure, the process, the system of the electoral college. It was meant at a time back in 1787 when it was established. It was meant because there was only a few people that were intellectually capable, and also there was no communication. For example, if I lived in Virginia and the candidate was from Kentucky or Illinois or wherever else may be, I wouldn't know who that candidate was. There was no communication. There were no TVs. There was no internet. There were no radios. There was very few newspapers. So I wouldn't know who the candidate is. So what they did was choose people of the higher echelon that would know who the candidates were. These people were governors, senators, so they knew the candidates as who would be the best candidate. So the people voted for one thing, they voted for the delegates, but then the delegates voted for the candidate. I don't think we need to do that anymore. Americans and the way technology is now is so sophisticated, there's no reason why I can't, if that man came from the moon, that I couldn't find out a little bit about his background, even if he came from the moon. So I think we need to look at that. We need to look at other things. But just don't let these 4 years go idly by with us continuing to complain about Donald Trump. If you want a change in government, you got to make a change in government. And stop all this whining, and I see it on Facebook every day. The same things they were talking about during the campaign, people are still talking about now. Let's get together and do something about it. This is not a dictatorship. He's not the pharaoh. There is such a thing as a Congress. This is a check and balance system. We got to do something to correct the error that we've made. Keep an eye on the man. Our president can be impeached. We've had two of them that have been impeached already. Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton. Yes, Bill Clinton. He won by 2 votes to remain president, but they were impeached, which means they went through the process of impeachment. Richard Nixon would have been impeached, but he resigned. So we know we had that always as an ace in the hole. We can get the man impeached if he goes too far.
Right.
No president is a king. That's why we got rid of King George. We don't have monarchy. We never had a dictator. That's why they limit the presidential term from forever. Like Franklin Roosevelt was a 4-time president. They limit it to only 2 terms, so that nobody can ever be a dictator. And so, what we do with even a man who is corrupt, who has certainly questionable policies, we can impeach them. But we got to do something. We got to make Congress act. 2018 is midterm elections. Vote in 2018. All 435 congressmen will be up for re-election. 435, that's every one of them. 25 senators will be up for re-election in 2018. And what are you going to do? Wait till 2020 when the next presidential election happens? Or are you going to change Congress first and then be ready for 2020? What are you going to do?
My brother is now, he's sitting in a seat because he lives in Salisbury, Maryland. One of the city council people had to resign because she moved out of town. So, but
he now sits in that place.
Right, that was a shock to me. I was looking on Facebook, and I see, and by his 4-year mark, do you have experience?
Amen. You never know. Who's to say? Who's to say?
I told him.
Never know.
I told him, you need to go for the president. I know people don't like the job, but it needs to be done.
Amen.
So I said, well, and by that time you have the experience. Trump does not have experience, period.
Well, thank you, Karen. Well, our time's up. It's 4 o'clock, folks. And we thank you for joining us. We're going to have Karen back again. She has so many things that she would like to share with you. Of course, we only have a 45-minute window, and we've been in a little over 45 minutes. But we thank you for tuning in. Remember, on Monday, we'll be, once again, at 3 o'clock, we'll be dealing with other issues. We'll be dealing with violence in the disabled community. Violence in the disabled community. We'll be talking about rape. We'll be talking about police brutality. We'll be talking about other things, giving you statistics, giving you examples of how we as people with disabilities are affected by these things as well. And we have so much more to discuss. And this is not going to be the first time we're going to have Karen. I want to talk to Karen about the disabled in the church. What role do disabled people have in the church? So until next time, tune us in, and may each of you have a wonderful and a joyous Christmas. And if we don't see you in the meantime, have a happy new year. And God bless you. God be with you. Enjoy one another. Share with your family. Share with your friends. Right on, everybody. Lisa, God bless you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And may God bless you. May God keep you. Keep your heads looking up high. For God don't make no junk. He don't make no mistake. Every one of us is made in his image. God bless you and goodbye.